All right. Well, I want to get to some of the content from the actual debate, and the part I'm interested in, and we don't have to. We kind of know what goes on in these debates. There was a situation where Ron Paul was asked a question by Wolf Blitzer about health care. What should happen to a man who has no health care and something happens to him? What should happen? And the crowd at one point starts cheering the idea that the guy shouldn't get any health care. And you actually hear people yell, "Let him die. Let him die." This is what qualifies as part of a valid debate on the Republican side. Do you let people die because they're uninsured, right? Keep in mind, any candidate even engages in this in any other country that is at the level of development at the U.S., they are instantly not a candidate anymore. Instantly. But somehow, this is a valid debate in the United States. Take a listen. This is shocking stuff.
You're a physician, Ron Paul, so you're a doctor. You know something about this subject. Let me ask you this hypothetical question. A healthy 30-year-old young man has a good job, makes a good living, but decides, you know what? I'm not going to spend $200 or $300 a month for health insurance because I'm healthy, I don't need it. But, something terrible happens, all of a sudden he needs it. Who's going to pay for if he goes into a coma, for example?
Before we hear the answer, I want to add the prefacing of the question with he has a good job and a good living. Okay, so the idea is already one that we're buying into the narrative on the Republican side, which is people who don't have health care for the most part don't have it because they don't want it, and therefore the government should not be responsible for their health care. It's a fine example. It's still not a let him die situation because somebody will still end up paying for it if he goes to the emergency room. But bear in mind, the majority of people who don't have health care is because they can't afford it, not because they don't want it, because they think they're healthy. Keep that in mind. The question's already biased.
Who pays for that?
In a society that you accept welfareism and socialism, he expects the government to take care of it.
What do you want?
But what he should do is whatever he wants to do and assume responsibility for himself. My advice to him would have a major medical policy, but not before.
But he doesn't have that. He doesn't have it, and he needs intensive care for 6 months. Who pays?
That's what freedom is all about, taking your own risk. This whole idea that you have to prepare and take care of everybody.
But Congressman, are you saying the society should just let him die?
No. I practice medicine.
Okay. People yelling, yeah, society should let the guy die. That's what would be, hold on. That's libertarianism. That's freedom, right? We are free. We are a better and free society. People are more free when people are just allowed to die. When in other countries, we've come to realize this actually is a right, and this is something we're going to provide to people. This is the debate that's taking place on the Republican side. Okay, do not be confused that this is even close to what we are having on the social side, on the Democratic side. Okay, still just about everybody can be bought. A lot of corruption, corporate influence. I know, but a debate with people yelling, "Yeah, let them die." That's what's happening. That's the Republican debate going into 2012. And I want to add this on. Ron Paul's campaign manager, his former campaign manager, Kent Snyder, died of pneumonia with no money and no insurance years ago. And remember, Ron Paul saying that's what freedom is all about, taking your own risks, this whole idea that you have to take care of everybody. It turns out Ron Paul was not speaking purely in hypotheticals because in 2008, Kent Snyder, his former campaign chairman, died from complications from pneumonia. And we have a picture of his former campaign manager. Like the man in Wolf Blitzer's example, he was 49 years old. He was relatively young. He was seemingly healthy, although he did have a pre-existing condition which made insurance unaffordable. Illness struck. We do have a picture of the guy. Let me just reiterate. I know we have it somewhere. According to the Kansas City Star, which quoted his sister at the time, he did have a pre-existing condition. He was uninsured. When he died in June of 2008, 2 weeks after Ron Paul withdrew his first bid for the presidency, he had $400,000 in hospital bills. The bill was handed to Snyder's surviving mother, who was not able to pay. People were asking for donations, and Paul wrote the following when Kent Snyder died. Like so many in our movement, Kent sacrificed much for the cause of liberty. Kent poured every ounce of his being into our fight for freedom. He will always hold a place in my heart and in the hearts of my family. Interesting. So, freedom. He had the freedom to be allowed to die. the way I guess Ron Paul thinks anybody who doesn't have health care should? Is that what we're hearing?
I guess.
And you know what? It is a little hypocritical because I see Ron Paul isn't worried about getting polio when he goes swimming. Why? Well, polio was eradicated by a concerted action of public health agencies. Maybe that shouldn't have been done, right? Maybe everybody should have dealt with that on their own. Oh, they would have been allowed whatever would have happened. I don't buy into this entire thing at all. And this is a main reason why I'm concerned about Ron Paul. What do you think? I know Natan wants to chime in. We have limited time here.
I agree with what you're saying about Ron Paul. I mean, he doesn't have any chance is the only good thing we can say about
People
this.
think he does.
He definitely doesn't have a chance.
He has no chance. Absolutely. On today's bonus show, many 3-year-olds have been branded as racist and homophobic and put on a special list by the British government. Also, a $10,000 reward has been offered if Michelle Bachmann can prove the story she told about the HPV vaccine causing mental retardation. And also, we'll go through a list of things you won't believe the government has banned. DavidPakman.com/membership. We now have video of the bonus show as well as audio, and you get both as a member. Back after this.
The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.